Très heureuse de vous retrouver pour le 18h30 Prime News sur My Media Prime Television. Madame, Messieurs, bonsoir. Nous émettons en direct de la capitale économique Douala. Ouvrons ce journal avec cette information portant sur le vaccin anti-Covid. Le Cameroun a réceptionné près de 400 000 doses du vaccin AstraZeneca. C'était, n'est-ce pas, ce samedi dernier à l'aéroport international de Simalène. Le ministre de la Santé publique, le docteur Manaouda Malachi, était sur le lieu pour réceptionner la première cargaison de ce vaccin. Les détails avec Genda Perdrine Blanche.
The plane carrying close to 400,000 doses of the British AstraZeneca vaccine was received on Saturday evening at the Yaoundé Simalène International Airport. Receiving the first consignment of the AstraZeneca vaccine, Minister of Public Health Manaouda Malachi lauded the efforts of the government and partners to intensify the fight against the deadly coronavirus in the country. Representative of the World Health Organization in Cameroon, Fabian Sabimana, equally confirmed the organization will continue to work with the government to ensure the vaccination exercise meets its target. 243 vaccination sites have been set up across the country, with the vaccination coordinated by the incident manager, Dr. Alain George Etudimbala, in collaboration with all 10 regional delegates of public health. The team will begin dispatching the vaccines to various regions of the country, where health workers will be vaccinated first, given their level of exposure and interaction with infected persons. Minister of Public Health Manaouda Malachi equally encourages the public to get vaccinated as soon as possible. The arrival of AstraZeneca vaccine comes weeks after the first 200,000 doses of Chinese Sinopharm vaccine were received into the country and distributed to vaccination centers across the country. More consignments of the vaccine are set to arrive the country in the days ahead.
Des milliers de personnes se sont rassemblées à la cathédrale Saint-Pierre et Paul d'Aqua à Douala ce lundi pour rendre un dernier hommage au cardinal Christian Toumi, décédé le 3 avril 2021. Plus de précisions avec Fon Quinta.
Thousands of Catholic and non-Catholics assembled at the St. Peter and Paul's Cathedral today for the funeral mass of late Christian Cardinal Toumi, officiated by the Apostolic Nuncio of Equatorial Guinea and Cameroon. A dark month for Christians, yet filled with celebrations as the remains of the late Cardinal, who died on April 3, 2021, began his journey to eternity. Family members say
he was a father. He was just not a priest. He was a father. He was everything to us. So I don't know. It's a big loss. We don't have what to say. Just like he is a big loss now. He was a father of the family, a father of the church, a father of the world. In fact, there are so many things that we achieved because of him. They are all gone. That's what we can say. So it's a big loss.
The remains of the prelate was removed from the mortuary of the Douala Military Hospital in Bonanjo ahead of 5 different masses at the St. Peter and Paul Cathedral in Douala. Emotions have been pouring in since the death of the prelate was announced, as his death has been described by many as a great loss.
Very close to the people, and he loved the people and he served the people. That's what's outstanding about him, and that's why he can attract so many people around himself. And you see people from all walks of life, the top brass, the ordinary people, all they're coming out to welcome him and pray for him.
Present at the cathedral today to pay last respect to late Cardinal Toumi were top administrative authorities, religious and heads of civil society. Late Cardinal Christian Toumi, who quit the scene at 90, would be remembered for his effort in resolving the Anglophone crisis.
Le dernier voyage sur terre du cardinal Christian Toumi a débuté ce lundi matin par la levée de corps, une cérémonie tenue en présence de nombreux hommes de Dieu, dont Monseigneur Julio Murat, le nonce apostolique au Cameroun et en Guinée équatoriale. Des personnalités politiques et administratives étaient également présentes. Plusieurs messes ont été dites. Gladys Bomotangina était sur la scène et nous fait le compte rendu.
Ce sont là les images en direct du début de la marche du cardinal Christian Toumi vers sa dernière demeure ce lundi 19 avril 2021 à la cathédrale Saint-Pierre et Paul de Douala, où la première messe à son hommage avec corps a été officiée à 12h30 précises. Présent à ce lieu, tout le cortège des archevêques et évêques du Cameroun, le nonce apostolique et les autorités administratives de ce pays, à l'instar de Issa Chiroma Bakari. Messe officiée par le nonce apostolique du Cameroun et de la Guinée équatoriale, son Excellence Julio Mourat, et où l'archevêque Samuel Tieda a édifié le peuple sur le bien fondé à se focaliser sur les choses spirituelles que physiques, telles que Christ l'avait recommandé, et aussi telles que le cardinal Christian Toumi l'avait fait tout en mentionnant sa biographie.
Par son ministère, le cardinal Christian Toumi a offert au peuple le corps et le sang de Jésus qui donne la vie éternelle. La foule accepte finalement de travailler pour la nourriture qui donne la vie éternelle. Comme nous pouvons bien l'imaginer, il ne s'agit pas d'exécuter un travail physique. Tout se situe au niveau de la foi. C'est ce que le Christ indique à la foule. L'œuvre de Dieu, ce que vous croyez en celui qu'il a envoyé.
Les liturgies du jour étaient focalisées sur l'histoire de Étienne et de Jésus-Christ ayant nourri 5000 personnes et ayant marché sur les eaux.
Notre Seigneur Jésus nous explique le miracle qu'il a opéré en multipliant les pains pour nourrir la foule qui le suivait. Nous sommes au 6e chapitre de l'Évangile selon Saint Jean.
Animé par divers groupes et supervisé par tout un protocole du corps religieux, l'événement était à succès. Après l'office, certains membres du clergé ont tenu à donner leur témoignage sur ce grand homme, tout en donnant leur ressenti.
Quelqu'un que j'ai bien connu et avec qui j'ai travaillé de très près. J'étais en son temps chargé de vocation et vicaire épiscopal. Voilà, donc je retiens de lui l'image d'un père aimant, engagé dans ce qu'il avait à faire, quelqu'un qui a tout donné.
Il en est de même pour les fidèles présents à cette messe.
C'était un homme de principe, un homme de paix. C'était un rassembleur, malgré la controverse, parce que certains pensaient que c'est quelqu'un qui avait un parti pris pour la partie anglophone, pour la partie francophone, mais ce sont des gens qui n'avaient pas pris le temps de bien le connaître, de bien savoir qui il était. Mais une fois qu'on avait côtoyé, on se rendait compte que c'était quelqu'un qui était épris de paix. Il n'avait pas un parti pris, il n'avait pas côté anglophone, côté francophone. Tout ce qu'il voulait, lui, c'était la paix.
Le cardinal Christian Toumi sera officiellement enterré mardi 20 avril 2021.
Autre chose à présent, à la suite des opérations militaires lancées par la 5e région militaire interarmée, 9 otages ont été libérés dans la nuit du vendredi à samedi 17 avril dans la région du Nord-Ouest. Ces otages étaient détenus pendant 5 jours à l'intérieur d'un camp séparatiste à Assoupinigne dans le département de Mézam. Plus de précisions avec Charles Kebois.
Following threats that circulated on social media from separatist fighters that vehicles will no longer ply the stretch Bamenda Matazem Santa Babaju, the military from their regular patrol and detachment along that road in a special operation carried out between April 15 and 17, 2021, hit a separatist camp in Ashu, Pinning.
We were just hearing gunshots. So after the shot, we heard as the military were finished. So when they stopped shooting, we knocked at the door and called them that they are prisoners here, that they should come and save us. They came and break the door and moved us.
9 hostages were set free from the separatist camp in Ashupining, Mezam division of the Northwest, killed 2 separatist fighters, recovered an automatic rifle, AK-47, other arms, munitions, and items for manufacturing improvised explosive devices.
Apart from the permanent detachment and daily patrols on that road, we have decided to conduct targeting operations in the outskirts of that road. On the night of 16 to 17, a task force conducted a targeting operation in the locality of Pinning. And then you can see the results. They liberated 9 of those young people.
Sunday, 18th April 2021, parents and relatives of the 9 former hostages were invited to reunite with their children as family members expressed joy thanking the military for liberating their children.
I thank our chef. For this will be killed. We don't know, we be just don't so we don't know place where they did. As we don't hear news today say they did for you, so all we will be happy for come for you for see them. As one come, we don't see them, so we the thank God and we the pray God say, may God help me all people where they did for you. Say make their work me gonna before, and with the glad, even the community, they the glad.
I be happy. So you don't feel they were even if I open my mind, I don't feel know me even explain out my mouth. But with my inside, I go to the be. So I don't feel talk all things what as I feel for my mouth. I don't feel my words will be small for appreciate what you way I don't do for me. My words will be small, they be less.
Handing over the 9 former hostages to the Janamari before they unite with their family, General Cavalier of the 5th Military Region and Ekongwese Divine, commander of the 5th Janamari Region, appealed to communities to form vigilante groups and help the military in facilitating their task to reinstate peace and normalcy in the region.
Parlons de ce fait divers où 2 Camerounais résidant en Arizona et au Texas, aux États-Unis d'Amérique, auraient abattu leur mère, faisant ainsi face à des accusations de meurtre au premier degré. Les 2 incidents se sont produits en moins d'1 mois, laissant les communautés camerounaises et étrangères encore sous le choc. Aileen Sama nous en dit davantage dans ce reportage.
29-year-old Thabo Mopesha of Cameroonian roots allegedly shot dead his mother, Gladys Mopesha, 56-year-old lady residing in Pina County, Arizona, USA. As the story goes, Thabo Mopesha was arrested for killing his mother in a Santan village home, according to a Pina County Sheriff's Office report, after deputies were called to the home on Allen's Peak Drive after a friend discovered Gladys Mopesha dead inside. The victim's son, Thabo Mopesha, was also in the house at that time. Her son was arrested on suspicion of first-degree murder. Detectives questioned residents in the area to check their security cameras for video of any suspects described as a black male about 5 feet 9 inches tall, who may have been on foot or riding a black mountain bike with skinny tires. The deceased Gladys Mopesha, who was originally from Bamenda Town, northwest region of Cameroon, migrated to the U.S., where she got her master's in education from the American State University. She loved living and working in Arizona, where she raised her kids and was an elementary and middle school teacher, described as jovial, took on everyone's pain, and had space in her heart for all. Before Gladys's demise, a similar incident was recorded in Houston, Texas, still in the USA, involving another Cameroonian family. According to reports, 19-year-old Harold Monono is accused of murdering his mother, 47-year-old Yolanda Royston at her home at night in the Richmond area, Texas, and then running away. He was tracked down by the police and also charged with murder while investigations continue on the two cases. However, it is unclear what led to the deadly shootings.
Dans l'extrême nord du pays, 4 salles de classe et 2 bureaux administratifs réduits en cendres. C'est le bilan de l'incendie survenu au lycée classique et moderne de Maroua le samedi 17 avril 2021. Plus de précisions dans ce reportage. C'est dans la nuit du 16 au 17 avril 2021, précisément à 3 heures du matin, qu'un important incendie s'est déclaré au lycée classique et moderne de Maroua, dans l'extrême nord du pays. Alerté par un Virgile, le proviseur du dit lycée a fait appel au secours de la 401e compagnie d'incendie de Maroua qui se sont mobilisés pour freiner la propagation des flammes vers d'autres salles de classe. Le bilan de ce violent incendie n'enregistre aucune perte de vie humaine, mais d'importants dégâts matériels, dont 4 salles de classe, 2 bureaux administratifs, incluant un bureau de surveillants généraux.
Effectivement, hier, nous étions au lycée jusqu'à 24h05 quand la lumière est partie. Nous sommes rentrés chacun chez soi. Mais autour de 3h45, le gardien est venu toquer à ma porte pour dire qu'il y a le feu, il y a l'incendie au lycée. Et directement, j'ai pensé au bloc administratif. Bon, heureusement, ce n'est pas le bloc administratif. Arrivé donc au niveau de ces salles de classe, j'ai constaté que le feu était effectivement en train de consommer les salles de classe. Nous avons appelé le 118. Il est à préciser que les salles de classe du dit lycée ont été construites par les parents d'élèves à travers l'APE en 2015. Le proviseur du lycée, néanmoins, a rassuré les parents que les cours se poursuivront ce lundi 19 mars. Je voudrais également rassurer les parents que cet incident ne peut pas empêcher le bon déroulement des enseignements au niveau du lycée classique. Pour la continuité de cours, étant donné que c'est un service de mi-temps, nous avons 4 salles de classe de secours de permanence qu'on appelle souvent les classes de spécialité. Ce qui fait qu'à partir de lundi, les enfants vont occuper ces salles-là. Le problème qui risquerait de se poser, c'est le problème de table-banc. Mais nous allons nous battre. Pour l'heure, les causes de cet incendie demeurent inconnues.
La communauté musulmane observe le jeûne du Ramadan depuis le 13 avril 2021. Dans les foyers, les fidèles ont entamé un mois de médiation et d'abstinence sur le plan charnel ou sur les plans charnels et alimentaires, et ce dans un contexte marqué par la crise sanitaire. Clarisse Koé.
Muslim faithful all over the world have begun the holy month of fasting following the spotting of the moon on Monday, April 12, which marked the beginning of Ramadan.
COVID challenges, unlike before, the calendar, the fasting month usually has come with a lot of prayer activities, amongst which are lengthy prayers at night.
This year, the Muslims' holy month of Ramadan is coming amidst the second phase of the COVID-19 pandemic, with rising figure of COVID-19 positive cases recorded in the southwest region. Unlike in the past when this Boya Central Mosque was crowded with Muslim faithful who come to pray to Allah, this year, some restrictions have been placed on the number, as not more than 50 persons are expected to be found in the mosque at a time. In addition, the Muslim faithful coming to pray here are obliged to strictly respect other COVID-19 barrier measures such as constant hand washing, the Imam noted.
Place measures the like of sanitizing the hand before entering the mosque, and putting on a face mask, and also observing distancing when the mosque is overcrowded. Our advice usually is that those who feel some symptoms, or some who suffer from any ill health, that the thing that can be a source of contamination or transmission, they are advised to stay at home.
Such an unusual way of observing the Ramadan period for most Muslim faithful who still doubt the existence of the disease and have termed it politically motivated, with pointing fingers at their leaders for not allowing them to feast like they used to do in the past.
People had to grapple with the situation. The imams received insults left and right, that they connived with the government to deprive them of their spiritual construction. You know, it's a building period. This is the only month in which Muslims spend more time getting closer to God.
In a bid to stay safe throughout the second phase of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Imam of the Buea Central Mosque has enjoined Muslim faithful not to be deceived and make sure that they take all precautionary measures put in place by the Cameroon government to fight against the second wave of the pandemic.
Des membres de l'association Temple Choir du East Mungo South Zone de l'église presbytérienne au Cameroun se sont joints à d'autres membres sur l'étendue du territoire national pour célébrer leur 29e anniversaire. L'événement qui a réuni 10 groupes au total avait pour thème « Soyez une bénédiction ». Dolingonde a couvert cet événement et son reportage.
These are members of the Temple Choir Association, East Mungo South Zone of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, joining their peers nationwide to celebrate their 29th anniversary of existence. In what can be likened to a come-together, activities to mark the day began with a normal Sunday service, in which the preacher of the day reminded the faithful to individually be a blessing wherever they may find themselves.
And the message is very simple as we have it, that we should be a blessing. We live at the time that Christians need to make an impact on the world. Our Christianity should be made manifest in all spheres of life.
Dancing, singing, drama skits, and also a fundraising scheme to keep the association alive took central stage of the celebrations, but not without marrying. And according to the host pastor of Peace in Dobo, the Reverend Frederick Atto, preparations towards this day had been in the pipeline for a year on now.
This is something we have been preparing for 1 year now, because it is an annual rally. And every time we have to choose a congregation which will become the target congregation where all the groups in the East Mungo South Presbytery and Mungo will converge to celebrate in our context.
The Temple Choir Association of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon is a lay training and evangelism group which welcomes members from all age groups and evangelizes mainly through music composed in the Manu languages. Elder Lovett Ojang is the National Financial Secretary of the Temple Choir Association of the PCC, who now makes his impressions of this 29th anniversary celebration known.
I'm so much delighted because the Temple Choir Association is able to celebrate 29th anniversary under the theme Be a Blessing. I'm so much happy with this zone, the East Mungo South Zone, because all the 10 groups that make the zone are present in this celebration. I am appreciating the zonal executives for doing much work to see that everybody has come.
29 years since its creation in the PCC, the Temple Choir lives on.
Hier, 18 avril 2021, était la journée internationale des monuments et sites. Approuvée par l'UNESCO en 1983, cette journée est consacrée à la reconnaissance des sites d'importance touristique ou historique. Bokengo Wardi revient sur cet événement.
Cameroon is Africa in miniature. The country is home to more than 200 ethnic groups that makes the rich cultural heritage of the country. From the far north to the west, through the northwest down to the coast of the southwest region, the country's extraordinary rich heritage is not just limited to plain and sites like the Great Giza pyramids of Egypt or the beautiful highlands of Peru, neither the Great China Walls, amongst others, but it's also appreciated in the variety of dishes and most especially the mother tongue, which can and so much more.
Come see the special place where I come from. The moon is bright, we telling stories round the bonfire. We get the fire and we get the power, we get the sauce. Yes, we are proud of
Being proud of one's heritage and cultural background as well as diversity is made possible by cultures respected, preserved, conserved, and protected since time past. However, according to the UNESCO, some of these heritages will be wiped off the Earth's face if they are not protected, especially amid the pandemic, rising crises, as well as wars worldwide.
World heritage sites are being destroyed. Protecting culture today is essential for building peace tomorrow.
Preserving and conserving cultural heritage, according to UNESCO, can be done by
strengthening tools and training specialized personnel, reinforcing international cooperation and information sharing.
On World Heritage Day, the UNESCO and other partnering bodies seeks to increase awareness regarding the importance of preserving, conserving, and protecting monuments, cultural diversities, natural reserve parks, and historical sites for future generations.
Madame, Messieurs, c'est la fin de ce journal qui a été coordonné par Fetata et Wane Ela et Nolinga était à la production. Merci d'avoir été des nôtres. Retrouvez Koum Lionel et ses panélistes dans quelques instants pour Prime Art. Sur ce, bonne soirée.